Oh shit. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Whisper of Windsor, Chapter 2, Requiem with the Chained King. As a bit of a recap from the previous session, the party was in Rexenstrom. This was Adelaide's hometown. You guys headed there to talk to the king and queen, to pretty much let them know about kind of the assassination attempt in Visorin's tower. The king and queen let you know that there was a crime lord in Zadash who also was using the king's name to send out assassins and run a crime syndicate. And then Zelron, Adelaide, and Allura headed to the Hall of Prophecies to learn about the vestiges of divergence and contact a friend of Allura's named Amara, a blind prophet. She granted you the names of the vestiges of divergence, artifacts that can make you much more powerful and grow with you. Amara learned also the truth of the Midnight Order and Tharizdun itself, which resulted in a chain wrapping around her throat and pulling her into the wall, which she promptly vanished. And then the city was attacked by a Nightwalker, which is a creature that gets born from the energy of a mortal who goes to the negative plane. If the creature is killed, the mortal is stuck until they can find a way back. And then the party helped clean the city up. They decided to head to Whitestone after Lucas heard about Percival dealing with some creatures that he was familiar with about 20 years ago. They also rationalized that Percy and Vex might know a little bit about vestiges of divergence, having dealt with them themselves. Allura was also a friend of theirs in times past. And so that is where we are now. As the party teleported into Castle Whitestone via teleportation circle, the magic flashes red and then dissipates, and you see you are in a large castle. There's like pillars, and there's doors that lead to like different sections of the castle. You are kind of in the like the main, like the first floor, kind of like in the main little area. And you see Percival de Rollo III as well as Lady Vex'ahlia, who...
Hey, no.
I don't have the full name memorized, okay? I'm sorry.
Percival Frederickstein von Musel Kowalski de Rollo III.
Okay.
You're a fucking nerd.
And Lady Vex'ahlia de Rollo, Baroness of the Third House of Whitestone, Grand Mistress of the Great Hunt.
Great Hunts.
And,
yes. All right.
And Treasurer to the Tal'Dorei Republic.
Alright, calm down, Daenerys. Let's go.
Nerd.
You realize you're also
Guilty,
right?
I don't cast nerd.
Guilty as charged.
So, so Percy, he's a way older dude now. He's kind of like using like a walking cane. He's still got his like glasses and white hair. Vex'ahlia, also similarly, much older, black hair down to like her mid back. And she's got like a bow, kind of like strapped around her. You see that Allura walks over and immediately kind of like takes Vex'ahlia into like an embrace. The two of them hug, and she says like, "Allura, darling, it's so great to see you. How are you?" And Allura's like, "Oh, great. With me and Kima are doing all right. How are you and Percy?" And then Vex nods and looks over. Percy nods at this as well and says, "Well, we've been doing much better, I think."
Marriage.
And so Percy nods and says, "Well, Visorin, not that it's not great to see you, but I'm afraid I must cut to the chase. Is this something you needed?" And Allura looks to the rest of the party and says, "Yes, there is a reason for our arrival. My friends here wanted to ask you some questions, if that's all right." Percy nods and looks to the rest of you guys. You guys see that like Percy is just like very intently reading like each of you, just like head to toe, just like military style, like just reading each of you.
Zelrun is doing the same. He's kind of eyeing him and just everything he sees around him.
Yeah, and you definitely notice that he has a he is not strapped. He does not have his gun on him at this time, but he has kind of a is kind of a sword there at his waist, and that's his only kind of like weapon you see. But yeah, you see Percy looks at you guys and is like, "Great. Well, if there is anything I can help you with, please, by all means, feel free to ask."
Lucas is going to step a little bit forward in front of the group towards Percy and go, "There is one thing that I'd like to ask in particular, albeit this is something I'd rather kind of speak to you about in a more private setting, if you understand."
Well, of course. Is this a matter that concerns the safety of Exandria, or?
Yes.
Right. Well, looks to Vex'ahlia and says, "Darling, could you make us some tea, please?" She nods, and goes, "Yeah, of course. Laura, do you want to come and help?" Yeah, sure." Vex and Alora walk off. Percy takes you, Lucas, into kind of like a private room where there's like this massive kind of like table. To you, this room kind of seems like a war council kind of room. But you can tell like it hasn't been used in a long time. So Percy kind of like walks in, you follow after him, like wooden door and like stone floor. Everything here is made out of like the nicest marble, and Castle Whitestone looks fantastic. You walk in, you see Percy looks at you and says, "Right. So, what's on your mind?"
20 years ago, Tal'Dorei was under attack by a group of creatures and a being known as the Nobody. I'd like to hear your telling of that particular event, if you would be so kind.
You see that immediately he gets a strained look on his face, and says, "Well, yes. This is a thing that happened 20 years ago. To be honest, I'd almost forgotten about it. When I think about my past, there's a lot to think about, but I had been on my way back to Whitestone. I was visiting a friend, headed back to the castle, and it was sort of later in the evening, and I saw I think it was a villager that was getting attacked by these creatures. I ran in. There were only about 5 to 6 of them at the time. And again, they were these 2-foot tall, shadowy creatures with horns and yellow eyes. But the strangest thing was that each time I defeated one, another one took its place. It was like fighting a hydra. They wouldn't... Well, eventually they did go away, but they didn't... It wasn't a result of me defeating them. It was a result of them just walking away. After that, I was approached, sort of, by a man in a black cloak. He had his hood up, couldn't see his face, but he stood on a roof. He monologued to me about, I don't know, he said something about the heart of the world. It just doesn't... I can't recall all of it. But after that, he disappeared, and that was that.
Lucas kind of tilts his head in thinking. You can see that he's kind of getting a little more agitated as Percy's been kind of going through, but not. It's not like he's agitated at Percy, but he's more agitated about the particular events within the story itself, not necessarily with Percy. He looks to Percy and he goes, Lord DeRollo, what I'm about to tell you is going to sound good chance of crazy, and any word of it should most likely not leave this room, even this castle. For information like this can be distressing for someone to try and understand.
Understood. And, I mean, I've experienced crazier things, probably. But by all means, the secret does not leave this room.
Creatures that you encountered that day aren't from Exandria, aren't from any of the planes connected to Exandria, or even a part of anything that has been beyond what I believe you guys call the Divine Gate. This man who calls himself the Nobody and the creatures all come from another dimension outside of anything that you probably would have had understanding of. And the reason that I know this is because I too am not from Exandria.
Percy looks appalled at this and says, he says, I'm sorry, you show up to my castle and tell me that there is more than one dimension. You have to understand that I'm a little bit doubtful to this.
Have you ever heard of a hero within Wildmount by the name of Jason Tanjiro about some 20 years ago?
I'm not innately familiar with the story, but the name I know.
Has it ever occurred to you that someone with that name, or even with that family name, has never been heard of in Exandria at all throughout its history?
He says, now that you mention it, it wasn't familiar, no.
That's because he isn't from Exandria. I know this because He's my father.
He nods and says, "So you... Then where do you come from? And for that matter, where are these creatures from?"
To answer your first question, I've had a couple of homes within my life, but as of now, I come from a place known as Haven Ark. Before you ask anything else about it, I cannot tell you anything more. There's a lot of paperwork and other guideline stuff that would get me into more irritant trouble than my entire family is already in right now. In fact, even telling you this much would already give me a... We don't want to get into that.
Right. Well, I know a fair bit or two about legal troubles, trust me, but then these creatures come from a separate dimension, and you had experience dealing with them.
I do.
Then I ask you, how should we deal with them? If each time we defeat one, another one appears, how are we able to make them cease attacking?
That gets more complicated. And in my defense, in the defense of any multi-dimensional or multiversal traveler, these creatures shouldn't be able to pass the astral dimension into another dimension or universe. I have someone figuring out as to how that happened, but as far as how to deal with them, that in itself may be more challenging than you would believe. It's complicated. There is a way to get rid of them, but the precise manner of doing so comes from a power that cannot be drawn from here, but from the dimension that these creatures come from.
Strange. Well, I suppose then there is a possibility of, as preposterous as it sounds, not only will we have to put a hold on dealing with these creatures until we are able to develop some sort of communication with this other dimension, or find a way to deal with them physically. But I must ask you, before I make any sort of major decision, I want to know your opinion on one thing.
Sure. What?
Do you want this to be considered as a national threat?
This nobody is a dangerous person, far more devious than I honestly should give him credit for coming up with this sort of scheme for this long this long here. It probably hasn't been that long. That's a whole nother problem, but the fact that he is here considering the origins of where he comes from, I wouldn't say that this is a national crisis, but a multiversal crisis.
He gets a shocked look on his face again and says, "Gods. Well then. There are people that I can talk to that I haven't had contact with in quite a while. But do you want me to rally people around to look for this individual, to keep an eye out for these creatures?"
It would probably be best. The way these creatures work is honestly nothing like you've probably seen before, because they do not necessarily come from a dimension where things like these are born, but they are more of a manifestation of the darkness inside someone's heart.
I don't understand how a thing like that can be possible.
In Exandria, it isn't impossible because, well, it's Exandria. Not to insult Exandria, but
you see, he nods at this and make an insight check.
oh shit. Save. Go to my sheet. Dirty 20. Hell yeah.
As you mentioned that this isn't impossible here in Exandria, he kind of takes a second to pause and realizes that he's maybe not dealt with this exact thing, but Percy has dealt with something a little bit similar before. Percy nods and says, "Right. Well, I haven't talked with a lot of these people in a long time, I will talk to these, I will speak with some of the people that I know on the council, as well as some of the other leaders of the parts of this continent. And we will send out search parties all over Taldore to look for this figure and for these creatures. And should we find any results, we will be sure to contact either you or Alora."
It's a start. But, like I said before, I will ask that you do remain cautious, because when it comes to these creatures and the manifestation of them, everyone is at risk.
Understood. Well, is there anything else you needed, or shall we get back?
As far as... there are still other questions, but I believe we can speak of the rest of them in a less private manner, and there are probably other questions that the rest of my party would like to ask.
All right. He walks over, opens the door. You head back into the main. You head back into the main little area with the rest of the party, You see, yeah, you guys see that Vex'ahlia brings out some tea along with Alora. Um, she puts down these like cups in front of you and says, "Well, oh, I forgot to ask everyone's favorite sort of flavor of tea. So I just made jasmine. I hope that's okay."
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Um,
Out of curiosity, how many of you guys have thought about trying to sneak in on that conversation?
I honestly was going to, but I felt like it was a little too late. I wanted to try to roll a stealth check, but I mean, heck, I'll just catch you next time whenever you talk privately with somebody.
Fair, fair.
so Vex brings out some tea. Alora helps bring out the tea as well. Lucas and Percy walk back into the main room. You see Percy goes and whispers something to Vex, and yeah, the two of them talk a little bit. Percy nods, and then Vex says, "Right." Pulls out a seat, sits down. "All right. Well, is there anything else we can help you with?"
Is she just talking to just generally, like everybody in general?
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably general, yeah.
And Zalron says, I don't know. Let's have our diplomatic speaker here tell them everything. And he looks to you, Lucas.
You gotta be kidding me, right?
I assure you, I'm not.
When did I agree to be the leader of this stupid party? There is one thing. Well, actually, at this point, several things, but we are in need of information in regarding a collection of, well, a collection of some rare artifacts that Alora said were known as the vestiges of divergence.
Alora nods. You see Vex says, "Vestiges? I wasn't aware there were more out there." You see, she says, "Well, if there are more out there, I wouldn't know where they are, Percy." Percy folds his arms and says, "Well, there's... A friend of mine told me there was one in Kael Moro. There was another one in Draconia. I can't remember the rest. But what I do remember is when one is collected, it sort of has a... when you collect one, it points you in the direction of all the others."
Who's his friends that told you about these couple of other vestiges?
You see, he says, "It was so long ago, but I do think, I don't know if you've ever come across, Keyleth, the voice of the Tempest."
Name seems to have come up a couple of times lately.
He says, well, she is, as it turns out, a little more influential than I think even she expects, but I think the Ashari tribe has at least one. There's another in Kael Moro and another in Draconia. The last two, I don't remember where they are. There are two more.
Now, my knowledge of Exandria and is kind of limited, but aren't there multiple Ashari tribes within Exandria, or even within Taldore?
He nods. Yes, each tribe in Shari is separated by which element sort of imbues them with power. The one that I think holds the vestige would be the fire Ashari.
Perfect. My cup of tea.
He nods, and says, "Well, that's all the information I have." He kind of looks at the rest of the party and says, like, "Well, if, of course, you need it. I don't mean anything by this, but you all do look a little worse for wear. If you would like to rest for a night here in the castle, we would be more than happy."
I could use a bit of a nap, that's for sure.
I'm more. I would like to take a look around if you wouldn't mind.
By all means, yes, of course. Percy goes and like motions. Percy takes you on kind of like a tour of Castle Whitestone, kind of like showing you around. Yeah. Vex looks to the rest of you, and she shows you to kind of like the guest rooms in Castle Whitestone. Yeah. I'm gonna ask for a perception check from everybody.
Oh, oh dear.
Oh. Give me one shot too.
Fuck me.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, son of a... Okay, perception.
Well, good thing
Where's
good
perception?
thing I got my nat 1 out of the way early.
Yeah.
I guess so did
Oh.
you. Oh no. We're not off to a great start.
Go and roll perception for me, Fen.
I'm trying to find it.
My bad.
My eyes are watering.
Should be under skills. There you go.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Zelron, Percy takes you about the castle, kind of pointing out these different like paintings as you walk by, different like sets of armor. What's Zell up to as he kind of just walks around?
As sort of, I guess Percy's showing him through, he's just kind of like, he's not even keeping up with everybody, he's more just sort of like staring in some of the artworks, and like, and then, you know, it comes back to him that he is a part of like kind of a tour, so to speak, so he ends up following back a part of the group, only to get broken off again by more paintings and more sculptures.
Nice. Yeah, you go about, Castle Whitestone's nice. There's a bunch of like sculptures and shit. Yeah. So, Lucas, Adelaide, what are the two of you up to as Vex kind of like shows you, she takes you up the stairs, shows you to the guest rooms, and it's like, if you need anything else, feel free to ask, and kind of walks away. But you do have to have some free time.
You first.
Nah, I don't know. Listen, man, he's exhausted. He looks physically exhausted. He's kind of just been following people around half dazed. He's good. He's just gonna follow. He's tired.
Fen, you, I'm gonna say, you, as you get to the like guest room area upstairs, You step in, and there's a desk, there's a bed, there's like a window that overlooks kind of like the courtyard. There is a it's very quiet in here, but there is a small, what looks to be like a hand mirror on the desk. It's like square, and it's sitting on the little wooden desk.
Oh, well, he's gonna pick that up. It's shiny. He's picking it up.
You pick up the mirror, and as you stare at your reflection, go ahead and make me a charisma save if you don't mind.
Oh,
Hey.
shit.
Why is one of our party members a crow?
Hold on. I just wanna have a little squiz at something first before I roll it.
Are you checking to see if you get advantage or some shit?
Yeah. Because I remember seeing something somewhere.
Let's see.
If I'm being charmed, I have advantage. Am I being charmed?
You're not being charmed. I'm sorry.
Nice try to check it though.
I never check it, so I'm learning to start to check things. Okay. Charisma safe, yes?
Yes, sir.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Shout out to the 2 crew.
Damn.
You're holding this square mirror in your hand, looking at your reflection, and as you do, the outside kind of frame of the mirror gets really hot and sort of burns your hand, and you instinctively pull your hand away, and as the mirror drops to the floor, it looks like there's smoke coming off the mirror, and your hand is slightly singed. You look down at the glass part of the mirror, and it looks to be cracked.
Oh, okay. Okay. What the fuck? Can he, like, look over into the glass without touching it? He just wants to have a little squizzer. Without touching it.
Yes. You squint at your reflection here in the mirror. I think you're in the reflection, your eye kind of like matches up with the exact sort of like spot that it's cracked in, and you see that your reflection slightly morphs. Just your reflection looks slightly different, not like majorly different like another person, but small little sort of minor changes to yourself. Like your hair is slightly longer, your ears are slightly pointier, your reflection just looks different than yourself.
Okay. 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 I don't know what to do in this situation. He's kind of... Okay. Is there another reflective surface in which he can look in? That's not magically fucked?
Yeah, I'm gonna say you can see like your reflection in the window, yeah.
Yeah. So he's just gonna have a look at that and see if he still looks normal.
Your reflection in the window looks completely normal.
He looks normal. Okay. Okay. So there's pillows on the bed, right? He's gonna like take one of the pillow sheets off and then kind of like pick up the mirror through the pillow sheet and just like kind of wrap up the hand mirror and put it in his bag. He's just gonna keep that for later. He wants to know what the fuck that is.
Gotcha.
Also, are his hands burnt?
Like, yeah, part of your palm is burnt.
Brilliant. Have fun.
Cool. Do you store that mirror in your bag? What's everyone else up to?
I've read the notes. What? Wait, what? Double what? The fuck? Huh, must be crazy.
Did
So
Thanks.
Did Zelron ever did Zelron see that? Or is he
Um,
still admiring paintings?
He went
I'm
into
gonna
his
s-
own room, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, Fen, would you have like closed the door when you went in, or?
You know what? For the sake of the story, nah, he just walked in and was like, "Ooh, shiny." What's that?
Plot convenience, yeah, you saw that, Zelron.
Fuck convenient.
So and so Zelron is gonna kind of chuckle to himself and he's gonna say, "Damn, Fen, the mirror roasted you so hard that you had to take it with you."
So the pillow that he de-sheeted, he's gonna fucking yeet it at Zeleron. Just fucking whap it.
Can Zelron Ultra Instinct this thing?
You ain't got evasion yet, boy.
Take it to the face.
And so yeah, I guess he just takes a face full of mirror. Can I catch it?
No, pillow.
Oh, pillow.
Pillow.
Oh, pillow. You
it's
threw
just-
the pillow at me.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
soft
pillow.
pillow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not that kind. He's not that much of a dick. Jesus.
No, I thought it was definitely just a pillowcase full of glass that you threw it in.
No, he's throwing the de-sheeted pillow that he took the pillowcase off. The
Oh.
mirror's in the pillowcase, and he's throwing the pillow.
Oh.
My God.
Well, he just takes a face full of pillow then. He's like, yeah, I deserve that.
The pillow like slides down and falls on the floor. Hell yeah. It gets a little like later in the evening. Cool. Anyone else want to accomplish anything in this little like downtime period?
I'd say that Lucas would probably stick with the tour for a little bit to kind of get an idea of who exactly Percy is after that one glance he kind of somehow picked up. And then after a bit, just kind of also goes off to a room of his own.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Adelaide
yeah.
is gonna kind of backtrack and look at the art with Zelron for a bit, and then go to her own room as well.
Nice.
I have one quick small thing I want to do.
Yeah, go for
Okay, where is Allura? Miss Magic.
it. You see that Alora like set down her bag on like table and then is like so she's like on the staircase on the way up to the second floor.
Brilliant. Me go find her with my pillowcase of broken shards.
You see that so she's like walking up the stairs with her staff. She looks at you and is like, "Oh, hello, friend. How are you?"
Slightly butthurt. And listen, he got roasted by a fucking mirror. He's slightly butthurt, and he's like, you know magic real well, don't you? Right? Yes. Like it's
Well-
like your thing.
That's one way of putting it, sure.
Brilliant. And he kind of like folds out the pillowcase in a way that he's not touching the mirror because that burnt him, and he knows not to touch things that hurt you. He's not stupid. That much. Wait. Okay. he suddenly just like looks at it, and he looks at his palm and he's like, "Oh, okay. Okay, I only have one question now instead of two. But can you look in like the glass mirror shards and see if anything weird happens to the reflection? Like, do you see anything?"
You see that she she gingerly like leans and like looks at the mirror. I need to actually roll something here.
Oh no. Is this gonna be like, I swear, this is like some other version of Vox Machina where Grog just convinces people to draw from the deck of many things.
Oh god.
She looks at the mirror, and yeah, I'm gonna say like lean down and look at the mirror as well. Her reflection looks completely normal. She does kind of like gingerly put a hand on like the side of it and says, "The only strange part about the mirror is that it's a bit warm, which isn't usually how mirrors work. Did you do you have sweaty palms maybe? Did you grab it with a sweaty palm, or like was it
No, just ignore the warmness. That's not that's something else.
okay, so that's
And he,
that was a thing that was
that was a thing, but
okay.
it's not because of sweaty palms. It just
It wasn't
something else
so it wasn't
happened.
you didn't
Just
so that it
the
wasn't you
glass.
causing the okay, gotcha.
Just look at the glass. Do you
Sorry.
see anything weird? Because I looked at it, and it did something weird.
She says, I don't see anything particularly strange or off. What did you see when you looked?
My appearance changed a little bit, so I'm thinking maybe is this like some kind of magic thing that I don't know?
Well, I was under the assumption that you knew a little magic yourself, or
I know how to make explosions and kill things, but like charms and that kind of stuff isn't really my thing. I think the most charmish thing I have is like I can cover my tracks. But really, I can make a little bit of snow, but like I'm not that. Like, look at my dad. Do I look? Do you think he taught me these kinds of things? No, he taught me how to make explosions.
I suppose that's fair. I mean, one could
Eh.
argue that that's more effective than my magic at times, but
I can't Eldritch Blast this. Like, Eldritch Blast won't tell me what is happening here.
well, you see that she casts Mage Hand and produces this little small bag and kind of sweeps the mirror along with the glass shards into it and says, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I don't think there's any... She actually casts Quick Detect Magic on it and says, there is a bit of magic on it, but what remains there is small. It seems like it was powerful a long time ago, but it's not as powerful now. I wouldn't worry about it, darling.
Okay, brilliant, so we can destroy it. Yes?
What? Do you want to destroy the mirror?
I don't know, weird magic mirrors. I have bedtime stories I don't trust.
Alright. Fair enough.
Now, this is something I know how to do. I can make explosions.
She,
Can I? Yes, I can.
she says, whoa. I mean, maybe not in the castle. This is, we are visitors, you know, so
I'm not that feral. I know where to make explosions.
Okay. Darling, where are you going to make this explosion happen? Because it can't be in the castle, because Percy will kill me.
Outside?
Okay.
Or in the dungeons?
Let's go outside. Or it's up to you. Whichever one you prefer.
How about this? I just keep it and then we make explosions when we're far away from the castle.
Sure.
Brilliant. Okay, give me back the mirror.
Hands the bag to you, and it's like, wait, I'm not going to hear an explosion in the middle of the night, right?
No. Well, if you do, it's not me.
Roll a persuasion check.
Ha!
Oh,
He's very persuasive.
She says, all right, fine, and hands you the bag.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Holy.
And he kind of like just toddles off back to his room.
Hell yeah. So yeah, you guys are heading off to bed for the night. Laura heads to bed as well. Yes.
Zelron
Go
gonna
ahead, Zelron.
stay up a little bit.
Yeah. It gets a little later into the evening. You see like the stars are out outside the window. Yeah, what do you do?
He wants to. I wanna exit the castle.
Okay.
And he
You head up.
he wants to. I don't know if I should. Okay, so he's gonna go and like softly knock on Fenn's door.
Fen, you are like I think Fen has like passed out at this point.
He'll
Fen-
wake up to knocking. He will wake up
Yeah.
to knocking. Very grumpily, mind you. Like, he will open that door with glaring death. Like, there is death in his eyes, and it is pointed at Zelron.
And he's going to, when you open the door, he's gonna be like, "Shh, mind if I come in?" Oh yeah, hang on. I don't know if Discord picked that up. Did you guys pick that up?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, we
It
got
did.
that.
Let me in. I need to talk to you.
Why so late?
Because I just want to make sure no spell or anything weird is gonna happen.
Oh, okay. Hurry up. And he like opens the door, grabs Zelron, and just like yeets him in before shutting the door.
And you can see he lets out like a tiny shriek, like a. Alright, and. Alright. I can't. Okay. And he's gonna kind of pace around back and forth, and he's gonna be like, something seems off here, don't you think?
Well,
Not
yeah.
like, not like here. I mean like this general situation. With
Yeah, no shit.
yeah, and something tells me that that dude who claims to be the son of Jason, something tells me that he is either a part of it or he knows something deeper. I don't know. He's
Well,
been giving.
no shit, he knows. Of course he knows something.
I mean, as in like knows, as in like knows way more than he lets on. Like as in he knows something. I don't know. It's a gut feeling. So the reason why I came up here and I wanted to talk to you is I need you to back me up whenever he decides to go off and talk to people privately as if he's the fucking king, monarch, whatever. I need you to back me up whenever I go and investigate.
So you want to go be a peeping Tom on his conversations?
Yes. Something is up.
Right.
And I intend to get to the bottom of it.
Have you considered maybe just asking him?
No.
You
No.
want to do that first?
No. Or, you
Why
know what?
not?
You know what?